We are Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
Welcome to week 2 of the Geeks Not Nerds multi-topic extravaganza. We've got tons and tons more questions that you folks have asked us that we don't think we can fit into an entire video, so we're going to do here. We're going to talk for another half hour and fit in as many of these as we can. I still don't think we're going to get to all of them because more have continued to trickle in, so I guess we'll just keep doing these until we run out of topics, Vince. So, so week 2, here we go. Question number 1, and this will be the last time I number them. What are your thoughts on the rumors that Thanos will be in the Avengers film? Spider-Man Sidekick 1.
Thanos, I don't know. I mean, we're not going to have to worry about the hero's origins, so I suppose they could fit more into the movie, but I was kind of jazzed to see one with Loki as the villain, but, you know, Thanos...
But I think we're going to get Loki anyway. I think if nothing else, it's likely that we'll get multiple villains.
Yeah, I heard it was going to be Thanos, Loki, and Skrulls. That's what I heard. I don't know. I'd have no...
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It sounds like an awful lot. And I have no real opinion. Maybe there's a way to do it. It sounds like it could be a little convoluted.
If Avengers is going to be a pretty cosmic thing, which makes sense because it's going to include the, cosmic cube, I think it would make a lot of sense because you know and they know that they will be able to do well enough to make sequels. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't set up a villain at the end of it, like somebody that they don't do a lot with in the film. That would be really nice, and Thanos would be the guy I would do that with. You know what I'm saying? Where, like, he's not the crux of the film, but you get to the end, and then they set it up for something like Infinity Gauntlet, or something like that, where you get to the end and plus, isn't Thanos a Skrull?
I don't know.
Am I wrong? I'm an idiot. I love Thanos, and now I'm not even positive. I think he's a Skrull. I'm just saying...
I just thought he was like a god of death or something.
Yeah, well...
I've never read anything involving Thanos.
Oh, okay, cool.
I have no idea.
You need to read Infinity Gauntlet. You still need to do that.
I've read Ultimate Thanos, but to my understanding, that's not really Thanos.
Anyway, I'm just saying, I think it'd be cool to just set Thanos up. Hi, I love your reviews and stuff. Thanks very much, especially for the end stuff. We like that part, too. Just want to know if you think X-Men 4 is a good idea, and if so, should dead characters make a return, i.e. Professor X and Cyclops, and that comes from Holando 1993. Okay, first questions first. X-Men 4. I'm personally not real happy about the idea of X-Men 4. I kind of wish they wouldn't do that, but that's just me. I kind of wish they would stay with First Class and just move up from First Class, and do some prequels. I feel like the modern X-Men thing we've kind of mined as much as we can mine without turning it into an entirely different thing, considering how convoluted X3 got. That's me.
I don't know. I'm still kind of the mind. They can do with it what they're going to do with it. Hopefully it's good. Maybe it will be. Maybe it won't. But if they try to cater to their actors and they try to shove too much into one movie, they're going to get the same thing that they did with X3. I mean, that they need to make a good movie first.
Yeah.
And worry about marketing after they've made the good movie. So...
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better.
X4 could be good. It might not be good. I hope it is. But would I have liked to see? Yeah, I would like that. See some more First Class type stuff. You know, X-Men Second Class, because they're not the richest.
I think that they are actually planning on sequels to First Class. But my thing is just sort of like, let's just stay there for now. Like let's not do both simultaneously. That's just me. As far as seeing characters come back, especially Professor X, no, would rather not see that happen. Mostly because it would be super contrived if they found a way to make it Patrick Stewart, and if they didn't, why do I care?
Yeah.
But that's,
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to do that. That's just, they've backed themselves into a corner, and good luck.
I think so, too, and you will have some people after you said that say, oh, no, but they show him at the end credits, they still like, yeah, but he's in somebody else's body. Do I really want to see that? Like...
It'll be bald guy number 2.
Okay,
Michael Rosenbaum.
The next question comes from our good friend Dan's News Machinima. Now, Dan's News is the guy who's been doing all of our moving logos lately. What a great guy. So, thank you. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Have you seen the one for Trek Spirits? Because it's friggin' amazing.
I believe so.
Okay, anyway. Dan asks us... what are your thoughts on actors double dipping in superhero roles? I think most people know my answer to this, but we'll continue. The best examples being Chris Evans playing Human Torch and Captain America, Ryan Reynolds doing Deadpool and Green Lantern. Does it matter? Should it matter?
I don't think it really matters. I think it's not hugely important, mainly because there's not going to be a continuity developed between those two things. and I don't really want there to be a continuity between Fantastic Four and Avengers. Like, what they've done with all of the Avengers heroes, fine by me, but I don't necessarily need X-Men and Spider-Man and Punisher and all these movies to be looped into the same universe. So I say that to say, as long as the guy has enough range to pull off multiple characters, like Chris Evans did with Captain America and the Human Torch, and the guy in The Losers, and the guy on Scott Pilgrim. So, he's been 4, man. But,
that's a really good point. I mean, he sold me on it, because it was in fact the Chris Evans video, when we first heard about that, where I came on and have continued up until now to say, give somebody else a shot on stuff like this. We're just, on the general principle of the thing, there are a lot of good, talented actors. We'll give it to somebody who hasn't had a shot yet. Now, having said that, I'm going to backslide on that a little bit, saying I can't really imagine anybody else playing Captain America now that I've seen Chris Evans do it, and he was fantastic, and we're not going to have any more Fantastic Four, so, you know. On the other hand, Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. And I didn't love him in Green Lantern, and so there you go. You know what I'm saying? So I guess maybe at this point I'm just going to say it depends on the actor. You know, but I mean, prior to Chris Evans, I've not generally liked it. Like, Halle Berry? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, she got Storm and Catwoman. Catwoman was terrible, and I don't like her Storm.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many people. For example, here's another good example. Red Skull and V. Why not?
Yeah. So, that's one, of course, where both of them you can hardly tell who's playing him visually anyway.
Well, there's that. That's a good point.
Okay, the next question comes from Valid U.S. Alexander, I think. And he says, hi, guys. I know I asked you this before, but it is now confirmed that Marvel is making a Punisher reboot, and this time Marvel Studios has full control of the film rights. I would like to know if you and Cap... you being Vince, can discuss how we can finally get a good Punisher film.
They need to know what their character is. They need to ask the people who know what the character is. But I think the main problem is that they've been trying to... One, they tried to create an origin story, and, you know, the Punisher's origin, great. He coincidentally happens to be in this right spot to be killed. That's or for his family to be killed. That's what the Punisher's origin is. And with the 2004, they made the best one that they possibly could have. The 89, they made the best one they possibly could have with Origin. Oh, I'd take that back. Possibly could have. They probably could have made something better. But, I mean, they managed to find a way to link up events to where it's not, oh, look, this has happened. So, I would think that, first of all, they need to bring it out of the past. They need to get it into an older Punisher, so, i.e., what they were trying to do with Warzone, but make the character make sense. Make a world in which the character makes sense. Here's a guy who's trying to kill criminals. Well, who's going to be the interesting one here? Are we going to delve into the Punisher's motives? Or are we going to do a touchy-feely thing where we're going to try to paint the Punisher to be a hero, i.e. Warzone? So we need to have a movie that's big on action and explore the character's motives and morals. So know who the guy is. We don't need to be able to sympathize with the Punisher 100%. We don't need to say, here's a good guy. Now, maybe he has a sidekick. Maybe Microchip is the guy that we sympathize with. Maybe that's the humanity in the film. Either way, what we need is a movie that doesn't make the Punisher into something that he's not.
The only thing I want to add to that is at some point or rather, Marvel Studios is going to have to start making movies that don't have anything to do with Avengers. And what you hope is, if they're the ones making Punisher, they don't tie it in with the rest of the universe too much.
Yeah.
I can see there being a mention of something here and there. That'd be okay. You know, they could potentially even do something with S.H.I.E.L.D. being mentioned. You know what I'm saying? But
they did have that Easter egg in Spider-Man 2 where they say that's Thomas Jane in the trench coat walking by.
Yeah.
So they're even connected there, but, you know, whatever.
The next one comes from Blue Dragon 5, which is, I'm not even sure this is a question. I'm going to read it anyway. Here we go. Blue Dragon 5 says, I just figured it out. Vince is Doom's Vince. Think about it. You never see them together at the same time in the same place. They look identical without the hat. If not, then Doom's Vince is impersonating Vince right now. Or Vince loves Two-Face so much, he has also developed an alternate personality. I'd watch out if I were you, Cap.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's like an entirely different guy. You know, he's over there, he's doing his thing, and you know, he's trying to kill Captain Logan. But that's it. You know, we were two entirely separate people.
Vince, that was an excellent Vince impression. I really like that.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
And then he says, I love the Deadpool conversation last GNN. I guess we talked about Deadpool on Geeks on Airs. Please consider doing a show in the future about the good and bad of Deadpool. I don't know if we want to do a whole show on Deadpool, just because we're not giant Deadpool guys, and I'm not sure how much I would have to say. But I guess we'll quickly throw out what we think about Deadpool. Vince, your thoughts on the character of Deadpool?
I think Deadpool makes a good comic book character. I don't necessarily know that I think that he would make a really perfect character for a movie, although I think he could make a good one. But my thoughts on what makes Deadpool strong. I think Deadpool is best with a supporting cast.
Yeah.
I think his quirks and his witticisms are great. I think they're perfect with the supporting cast. But when that's all it is...
Or when he's part of a supporting cast.
And I also like the idea that Deadpool is clever off the cuff rather than just zany. I don't need a Deadpool who's just mouthy. I know he's the merc with a mouth, that's fine. And I'm not saying he can't be mouthy. I'm saying that he needs to be actually clever. So... I don't mind a smarter Deadpool. I think Deadpool is best when he's a little bit, when he's clever, a little bit smarter, but maybe not self-aware enough to take himself seriously.
Yeah, for me, it's just kind of smaller doses with Deadpool. It's not that I don't like the character, it's that I don't care to read him by himself. I've tried several times, just can't really get into it. I love him on Uncanny X-Force. I think he's great in that book. Which, by the way, if you haven't read that, that's a great book.
Suicide Kings is good too, but that's Deadpool Suicide Kings.
Next question comes from Toby9975432.
That's a lot of numbers.
He said, why do so many filmmakers end up making bad movies? Shouldn't they have a better understanding of what makes a good movie, since it's how they make a living? I know this seems like a childish point, but I just felt like asking. Anyway, I love your work and look forward to almost every video you post. Keep up the amazing work. Thanks very much. That was a very kind thing you just said. So, why do directors make bad? I just love that as a question.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to say that it's not necessarily a director that makes a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's a team that makes a bad movie, and
there are directors that make bad movies.
That's true. What's his name? My screenwriting professor from back in college, he said to us, Kevin Wilmot, that guy, he said to us, you can make a bad movie with a good script, but you can't make a good movie with a bad script. And so it is possible for a director to make a bad movie, even though it shouldn't have been a bad movie.
Through no fault of his own. I would implore you to consider the fact that movie making is not always about telling a story. It's just the sad fact of it. Sometimes, in fact, these days, more often than not, movie making is more about making a profit than it is about making a good movie. And that's why movie makers can sometimes make really bad films, because they're still getting paid for it. That's the short answer in my point of view.
I think that a lot of bad movies get made because they're trying to create something that needs a bigger budget. They don't realize what they're making, or they're trying to create something on a low budget, and they don't understand what makes for good low-budget filmmaking. So I think that even if it's not a marketing issue...
Same thing can happen the other way, right? Where somebody's used to making small films and they get a big budget and they don't know what to do with it because they've got too much money?
Mm-hmm. I mean, people don't know... People work good in certain genres, or work well.
They work good.
They work good. Because they're making Talladega Nights.
You're wearing the wrong hat.
That's right. I need to get my country hat here and swing it around. But, yeah, that's something else I wanted to say. You know, they make bad movies not necessarily because they make movies or because they make good movies. They just, sometimes people make a bad movie. They're not good at it and they don't know what they're doing.
How much time have we got, man?
We are currently at about 13 minutes since I last checked my...
Since you last...
Yeah, I didn't actually start timing when we started this, and I forget.
Okay, well, we'll do a couple more real quick. Hey, Captain Vince! This comes from Nick Young TDK. Hey, Captain Vince, love your videos and brother-like camaraderie. I have a question. Of all the superhero suits in film, which superhero or team has the best outfit? Keep up the videos. That's actually not a bad question. I don't, off the top of my head, know who I would choose for that. Who has the very best costume?
You know, I think every time it comes out, I'm always just a little wowed by the costume that they choose.
Yeah?
Like, Spider-Man came out, I thought it was beautiful. I mean, Blade came out, and they had to entirely revamp the character, and it was really cool.
And that's a great suit, too, yeah.
Warzone had a really cool suit. I mean, it looked more tactical than anything I'd ever seen applied to the Punisher.
I'm going to say, as much as I love Batman Begins and Dark Knight, it's not Batman.
Well,
in those films, for me, I think his suit's too busy.
I like it a lot.
Do you?
I think, my current favorite is the one that just came out, Captain America, because they did exactly with it what I wanted them to. So, which one's the best? I think the one that most impressed me back in the day would probably have been Spider-Man, the one that I was most like, wow, that was really neat. But that's not to say that it's the best one by objective standards.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that objectively, so I'm going to answer it subjectively. I still love the 89 Batman suit. I don't care what anybody says. I love that costume. Always have. It doesn't make any sense. He can't move his head, and it looks like it weighs about 300 pounds, but I just really like that suit. Honestly, I've always been more impressed with villain costumes than I have been with superhero costumes a lot of the time. Well, frankly, the Christopher Reeve Superman suit is a really great suit. To be able to pull that off and it not look silly in 1978 is fantastic.
I would like to say about the Spider-Man suit that here's a couple flaws with it. It's itchy and it rides up in the crotch.
And you got that straight from the source.
Indeed.
Our next question comes from Green Marco, who asked, who do you think should DC promote next? What character in animation or live action? I was thinking about Green Arrow, Birds of Prey, maybe Secret Six. Those characters present something new and interesting to regular viewers. That's true, and will never happen, is the unfortunate part. Realistically, the Batman and Superman movies aren't doing well enough. They're barely making enough money to keep making these movies, so unfortunately, we're probably never going to see the Green Arrow animated, and probably never the live-action one either, to be honest with you, or Secret Six, or, no, you're right, but realistically, I don't think any of that will ever happen.
Yeah. You hit the big ones. I'd like them, you know what I'd like them to do?
What's that?
I'd like them to do a Batwoman movie. You know why? Because that might be the only way they will ever get to see more about the Batwoman.
No, that's not true. That's not true. They held it off for 52. They held it off for the 52.
Yeah, I know.
She's finally getting... No, for a long time we thought, they're just taking their time. And then it turned out, no, they were just saving it so she could be one of the 52.
That's fair.
But anyway...
Why retcon something after you've just created it?
As far as live action, I've been pulling for a Flash movie forever. It's looking like we're finally maybe going to get one, hopefully. Although, the article I read said there was a solid script, and then it was an opinion article. So the next line, the guy said, it probably only means solid in the sense that someone printed it off and they have a hard copy. Which I think is really funny, but that's so true with this stuff, though, where we hear these projects are going to happen and then they fall apart. That keeps happening with DC. We've heard this with Justice League, we've heard this with Wonder Woman. So anyway,
I'd like a Martian Manhunter cartoon.
Me too.
Animated movie, rather. Me too.
Yeah, maybe not a regular series.
Yeah.
But,
I'd like a Blue Beetle in Question, Ted Kord and Vic Sage.
Okay, Mr. Mind Productions. This is kind of an odd question. It says, Cap, you seem like a gamer somewhat. And feel free to ask Vince as well. But what is your opinion on pre-ordering games? And if you want a game to springboard off of, how about Batman Arkham City? I'm not sure why he's asking this. I don't know, when I used to work at a game store, I pre-ordered stuff every now and again, if I just really wanted to get it. I don't know, it seems to me, I feel a lot better saying this now that I'm not working for a store. It seems kind of unnecessary more than half the time. It seems like a lot of the times the big stores get enough copies where you don't really need to pre-order. So sometimes, I don't know, bonuses are gimmicky. But if the bonus is really cool, I'll pre-order if I'm planning on getting it the same day anyway. And I don't buy a lot of games new anymore. But Arkham City, if they had a really good bonus, I probably would. Every now and then they'll do something that's kind of fun, either a good in-game bonus or some fun statue or figure or something.
Yeah, pre-ordering something that's probably not going to sell not sell at all, but something that's not going to fly off the shelves. That's kind of bizarre to me. My brother's done that before.
Yeah.
He went in there and set down a bunch of money on something so that he could pre-order it, and I said, why did you do that? It's not coming out for a year and a half. What are you talking about?
Well, the game stores like to make a big deal out of pre-ordering games because, if they can get you to commit to buying a $60 game right away, then that's more money for them. And that makes sense. So, I guess it makes sense. It can be obnoxious. You know what I mean? It can be annoying to have people trying to sell you things you don't really want. So that's not cool when that happens. But just as far as the idea of from a consumer standpoint, extras are gimmicky, but if they're good, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But that's the only time I would pre-order is if I thought I was going to get something cool out of it.
If I owned a mom and pop game store, I'd be a little upset about that.
Yeah.
But I don't. So.
No, you totally do. You totally do.
Yeah.
Hey, let's knock this one out real quick. Aslan1121. Here's a big argument right now, Vince. What are your reactions to Barbara Gordon's return to Batgirl and the loss of her handicap? Do you think this will harm that character's popularity due to how much of a symbol she's become for handicapped people? That's a really good point. One argument that is used a lot from critics is that she should have recovered, as there have been many characters that have recovered from worse, which I never like that argument. I feel this argument could be true of Daredevil, and in that case, do you feel like she's being held back by her handicap, or is it that it's become part of her character? Barbara Gordon is, and I've always said this, is so much more of a fleshed-out character, a more interesting person since she's been Oracle than before she was Oracle. The wheelchair has done nothing but make her more interesting. And I agree with the people who say that putting her back in the Batgirl costume and taking away her handicap is kind of a step back for the character. I'm glad they're keeping the history intact, don't get me wrong. That's the one thing I like about it, because I was kind of worried that they were just going to reset it. And I'm glad that's not happening. That would be worse. So I'm on the fence about it, to a point. I don't like it, but I'm also not going to say that it's not impossible. That it's impossible for, her interesting characterness to stay intact, especially with Gail Simone writing. So I know a lot of folks are boycotting it because they don't like the idea. I'm not going to boycott it. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't happening this way, but I'm going to give it a shot and see exactly what's happening with it.
Cautiously approach.
Yeah.
I think it's a little silly that when somebody's been injured for so long to the point that and they can't get better, and that's the point of what they're doing, then it seems like a contrivance to suddenly say, oh, look, there's this miracle cure, and suddenly you're no longer Two-Face, and you're going to scar yourself up later because you're crazy. And what I'm trying to say here is that Barbara Gordon's going to shoot herself in the spine. That's what she's going to do.
Well, what's interesting is a lot of times when something like this happens, we take it back to status quo. But at some point, but this is weird because Barbara Gordon went away from a status quo, got a several year-long, decades now long status quo, and now she's back to her old one kind of. So which one will stick? That's interesting.
I think it'd be kind of interesting to see a story about a person who, you can't go home again. You know what I mean? She tries to be Batgirl, and she goes through maybe nervous issues or some problem that keeps her from performing to the best of her ability. Gets to the point that she really can't handle herself or her own in the field anymore, and she goes back to being Oracle with legs.
Here's the thing. That's what I wanted to see. Not really. I wanted her to stay the way she was, but I didn't really want to see her go back to Batgirl. If anything, yeah, make her Oracle with legs, because the problem is, well, she's not a girl anymore. That's part of the problem, is that she's very much a woman. She's got to be in her 30s. And just calling Barbara Gordon Batgirl now was very strange to me. But anyway.
They were going to call it Bat Individual, but it was too long.
Yeah. Well, that's somebody else in Batman Incorporated. They're the Argentina Batman.
They should have called her Red Bat. Why? Because of her hair. Because it's not any dumber than Batwing.
Last question we'll do today. Actually, we'll do another one because there's another one I want to make sure we did because it's timely, Vince. This one comes from Directing Dude 95. How do you think the future of Green Lantern will affect future DC live-action projects such as the Flash or the JLA movie? Love the show, guys. I hope you pick this question for GNN. We're going to pick it right now. Well, I have a different answer for this today than I would have last week because some new news came out today, which is that apparently there's a solid script for The Flash, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything. We've heard this before with other things, but apparently Flash has a script, and apparently there's supposed to be a Green Lantern sequel regardless of the fact that Green Lantern didn't do well. And they're still talking Batman reboot, and they're still talking about having Nolan do it. So apparently Green Lantern didn't affect things the way we thought that it would. So I guess my answer to that is, it looks like we're getting our answer, assuming that this is all true and going to happen.
I wouldn't have thought that they were going to slow it. I thought they would have slowed it down.
Me too.
I didn't think that would stop them because, of course, Marvel's still doing its big thing, and no matter what Marvel puts out, Avengers is going to make some kind of money.
Oh yeah.
And DC is going to ride Avengers' coattails at least, because people are going to go see Avengers because it's a big bunch of superheroes, and they're going to go see a superhero movie because they're all jazzed for Avengers. So why not?
Well, that's the theory. Of course, that didn't work with Green Lantern. You know what I mean? I mean, Avengers isn't that far off, and that's not helping that's not helping all of them. But yeah, I don't know. You're right to a point. But I think, a lot of people just couldn't get behind Green Lantern for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So anyway, last question I wanted to answer real quick. We've gotten this from several people, so I won't mention anybody. But several people have asked what we think of the new Superman suit from Man of Steel. The costume, we just got a picture of it. I think yesterday or today. I think it looks fantastic.
I think it looks special. No, it looks super. It's good.
I think it looks really good. I think Henry Cavill looks fantastic in the costume, and I love how big the S is. I just can't get over it. It's huge. It's like... I think they're making a really big statement with that. Hey, guess what? Superman's a big deal. You know what I mean? Zack Snyder is so excited to do this movie that he's just like... I saw an interview with him a couple months ago where he was like, look, Superman is like the quintessential superhero. He's the first superhero. He's a really big deal, and people have largely seemed to have forgotten about him, kind of. And this should be a bigger spectacle on screen. And of course, this is Zack Snyder, so you're going to think he's going to make a spectacle over story. But regardless of all of that, I'm just saying that at least we got people making this movie who think, hey, Superman should be, should be an epic. As it was initially intended.
I tend to not like the stories that Snyder's involved with.
Yeah.
But just because Snyder's directing it doesn't mean I'm going to hate it. It means I'm going to have issues with it, but that's about it. So it's not a guarantee that I'm not going to like this movie. And the spectacle's an important thing. I mean, it is Superman, a guy that has every power in the world, even telekinesis if you believe some of the movies.
I mean, I know you were complaining that the publicity shots were in slow motion, but...
Look, you're not even moving! It's ridiculous!
Well, yeah, I know we didn't get to a whole ton of questions this time, so we will do more parts of this, and we'll probably do another... Yeah, we'll do another one of these next week. What do you think, Vince?
Yeah.
Good? So, hey, leave your comments about anything we talked about today, and if there's anything you'd like us to talk about in the future, leave those in the comments as well. And thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
And support your local comic book store.